What's up, people? Happy Thursday. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. Okay, this fucking ass episode. This shit was boring. I'm sorry, but this episode was trash. The only interesting parts really was the whole Maxie and Lulu kidnapping. Other than that, this shit was whack. And I don't really see no story progression with most of these storylines. There's no end game to them. Or what is the end game? Let me just get down to certain things. Okay, so Elizabeth, what was her point today? I guess she's nothing more than a glorified babysitter. Because I guess she's babysitting Rocco for today or whatever. And this bitch, she had Rocco in her arms. Oh, before I get into this episode, I got some very, 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 very bad news. Brace yourself. Heather Weber is coming back to the show. I'm just saying, I'm pissed about this. I don't want this bitch back on the show. I'm sorry. I love Robin Matson. I love her, but the Heather Weber character is so cartoonish. It's like, how does a woman in a mental institution know everybody's secrets? How? Answer that question. How? This is ridiculous. Like, she's the gatekeeper of everybody's secret. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So anyway, Elizabeth, as so many would like to call her, she had Rocco on her arms looking at pictures, and she seen a picture of Nicholas with Rocco. And then she started talking about how Windermere was so big and it was gloomy and she wouldn't want to live there. Bitch, you ain't got to worry about living there. Because hopefully when Helena Cassadine come back, she will exile your ass. I can't stand Elizabeth. How you gonna trash talk Windermere, saying it's gloomy and it's not comfy like Dante and Lulu's apartment? Elizabeth, sweetie, that house that you live in, need I remind you that that's Jason's house? He bought the house, yes, for you, but key words, he bought it with his money. And he bought that house for you and the kids. And had it not been for Jason buying you that house, bitch, you would be living in an apartment too, because there's no way in the world you could afford that house. Not at the time when, Jason bought it. Because Elizabeth is a surgical nurse? Surgical nurses, they get paid good money, but not enough to buy no house in the suburbs. Not unless they got a husband that's a doctor or something, some type of second income. Elizabeth just irks my nerves. So anyway, Nicholas showed up or whatever. He was at the PCPD wondering if they had any new leads or whatever. He was there with Britt, wondering if they had any new leads on Lulu. And that's when Anna came in and said that she had some information or whatever to share with Dante and Nathan. So Nicholas stops by Dante's apartment. I guess he was looking for Dante. But him and Elizabeth start talking. And here we go. His sister is kidnapped. And all this bitch want to talk about is this love triangle, basically. Who he gonna pick? Her or Britt? I'm like, seriously? This is not the time to talk about this. I really could care less about that whole scene, because that scene just irritated me. Lucas and Brad, they were unnecessary today. Nina and Silas, unnecessary. They're always unnecessary, because what is the point of this Nina Silas storyline? She wants revenge on him. For what? For him sleeping with Ava? I mean, why is she so pissed at Silas? Why not be pissed at her mother? She's the reason, bitch, you lost your baby. She's the reason you were in a coma for 20 years. Blame your mama. Not to negate what Silas did, because he was wrong, but at the same time, like, damn, bitch, what is your point? Like, what is the point to this storyline? Like, what is the end game? Why would you, if you claim to hate Silas so much, why would you want to have a baby by him? Or maybe it's not really a baby by him per se. I think she just wants a baby, period. But it's like, get your revenge on Silas and get over it. So she was in bed with Silas. And you see how she was moving around the bed, turning and stuff like that. Now, I don't know about people who are handicapped, and they can't move their legs. But when I turn in bed and stuff like that, and I lay on my stomach and stuff, and I turn around and I lay on my back, generally I move my legs when I do it. So I don't know how she do it, but I move my legs when I do it. So anyway, apparently Brad and Lucas have been in bed for the last 2 to 3 days. So they've been basically dead to the world. They don't know about Lulu's kidnapping. Britt came home and told them about it or whatever. Felix met up with Sabrina at work. He worked a double. Why is he working for Elizabeth? Why is he working her shift, covering her shift? Bitch, you just got your job back. Get your ass back to work. What did you got Felix covering for your ass for? For what? Like, seriously. You just got your job back and already you got people covering for you. I would have fired her ass and I would have kept her fired. This is that stupid ass shit that I be talking about with Elizabeth. That bitch, it's like she's allergic to work. How did she get her med? Let me breathe. Anyway, so Felix is catching Sabrina up on what's been going on or whatever while she been gone. And she been catching him up about what happened on the road that night with her and Patrick and losing the baby. I didn't really give a fuck. It was a lot of unnecessary scenes today that just didn't need to be. So Nathan and Dante are in the interrogation room looking at a picture of a guy named Peter Harrell. Peter Harrell is a guy from 30 years ago, 1984 to 1985, if I'm correct. He was Felicia Scorpio Jones's ex-fiance who tried to steal her Aztec jewelry back in the day until her and Frisco stopped him. So apparently Levi Dungelman, the kangaroo, his real name is Peter Harrell or Peter Harrell. Apparently he's Peter Harrell Jr. So they're trying to connect the dots and see if he's Peter Harrell's son. So Anna's trying to get in touch with Frisco. See, I like this storyline because I like the twists and the turns of it. See, before I was just ready for this kidnapping to end. I still am. But I'm curious to see what the fuck is the end game for this storyline. I like that the writers, I do give him props. And I know some people say, well, I don't like Ron, so I'm not giving him no props. But he is digging up history because Peter Harrell was 30 years ago. That whole Aztec storyline was 30 years ago. So I like that they're going off on that. You know what I mean? Like they're picking up on that. And it's a nice use of history, to add Levi to that history. It's a nice thing to do. I don't agree with most of their decisions as far as storylines are concerned, but I think this was a nice touch. And it was a nice swerve. I would have never seen this coming because everybody thought he was fake Luke's son. And we still don't know the connection with that, but there still might be a connection with that. Who knows? So anyway, they're trying to connect the dots. Here's my problem with this police department. Why are Dante and Nathan the only detectives in town? Like, are they the only detectives? Because in real life, even though this is not really based off of real life stuff, they don't ever really use real life soaps. But still, Dante and Nathan are too attached to this story, to this case. They're too emotionally attached to this. I would have put other detectives on this case instead of the two people who are too into it. You know what I mean? They have a personal attachment to this, and mistakes can be made that way. So anyway, Levi or Peter, aka Peter, he cut his hair or whatever to change his disguise or whatever. And he brought Lulu and Maxie some breakfast or whatever. I'm going to tell you like this. I loved it. I loved that whole scene because Lulu and Maxie were just giving it to him. They were annoying the fuck out of him. Saying how Dante and Nathan were probably going to bust through the door and shoot him. And I was sitting there rolling. I was like, that's exactly the same way I would have been. Let me tell y'all something. If I would have got kidnapped, I'm being completely honest. Let that have been me that got kidnapped. I would have been so annoying. I would have been annoying to the point where you would have had no choice. That my kidnapper would have had no choice but to let my black ass go. And I'm being honest. You wouldn't have had no choice but to let me the fuck go, because I would have annoyed the shit out of you. I would have been singing Daylight Coming and I Want to Go Home all goddamn day. I swear to God, I would have been singing it all day. I would have been singing Whitney Houston Greatest Hits all day. Rest in peace, Whitney. I would have been singing that shit until I annoyed the fuck out of you. I would even hit the high notes just so that way you would have had to let me go. Even if that meant that you might get sick of me enough to shoot me. I don't give a fuck. But either way, you gonna let me go. I ain't being all held up, kidnapped, and shackled and no. Yeah, I'm gonna make it to the point where you ain't got no choice but to let me the fuck go. I would have been so annoying in that bitch. I would have been ranking the shit out of him, talking about his fucked up hairline, his nasty looking clothes, his ugly shoes, his mama ugly. I would have been talking so much shit, you would have had to let me go. Anyway, enough of my rant. Anyway, yeah, Maxie and Lulu, I loved it. They was annoying the fuck out of him. So he left or whatever, and I forgot how Maxie got the phone. So Maxie had the phone under her foot, and she was telling Lulu how Mac or whatever taught her and Georgie or whatever something how to play soccer. And Lulu was looking at her like, bitch, get to the point. So Maxie was fumbling around with her feet with the phone, and that bitch kicked that phone up and it landed in Lulu's lap. I was like, yes, bitch. That's what I'm talking about. You are a Jones. You are a Jones and a Scorpio. And Lulu, bitch, you're a Spencer. Y'all better use y'all resources. Shit. Come on now, Lulu. You come from Luke and Laura, bitch. You should know how to get out of a sticky situation by now. You should have learned something. Like, seriously. I'm going to tell you right now, I love that scene because I'm like, that's how you use your brain. Use your brain, bitch. I would have got my black ass up out of that. So anyway, this was a decent episode. So it was boring. So Nina went to the hospital or whatever because, her and Silas was in bed talking about having babies or whatever, having a baby. So she went and met up with her cousin Britt. This was their first introduction. And she chose Britt to be her OBGYN. And she want Britt, to run some tests to see if she's pregnant. Here's my problem with this. Britt, I love you, but you better be wary of this bitch. Cause I'm telling you right now, I got a funny feeling that if she's not pregnant, she gonna have you trying to get her pregnant. Can we say stolen embryo? Cause I got a feeling that she gonna try to do some hairy shit to get pregnant. We already know that's what's gonna happen. So anyway, I hope all of you have a great day. I will see all of you later. Have a great day.